Hello, Brooklyn Community Church. My name is Travis Kurtz, and I'll be sharing with you some thoughts that I've had over the last month. Hopefully they'll trickle down to all of you who are watching, whether you're a boomer and needed to get help to find this website and double-click the link, or you're the TikTok generation addicted to your MySpace account. Well, today I want to focus on two questions that I feel like are really interconnected. The first question is, what do you worship? The second question is, what do you say when you talk to yourself? Over the last month or two, I've been really thinking about those two questions. And to give you some context on what do you worship and what do you say to yourself when you end up talking to yourself, what do you say? Here's the contextualization. I teach in New York City on weekends. And one of my favorite schools to teach at is in Lower Manhattan. It literally is one block from Wall Street. In fact, when I look out of the window, I can see the large bronze statue called the Charging Bull. And the Charging Bull symbolizes all the wealth, all the prosperity, all the man-made achievements of the financial hub of New York City. And you can't miss it when you're driving into New York City. You can see the magnificent skyline, the large skyscrapers, the Empire State Building. And when you're in Lower Manhattan, you have all the endless restaurants. You have all the affluent wealth of the apartments. And every time I end up going to this area, for me, I have to ask myself, what do I worship? Because what do I say to myself? In many regards, God seems very, very distant when I'm in that region. And it's because I elevate the prosperity of man. The man is the measure of all things. I really feel God is irrelevant. He's look what man has created. Look what man has done. And it's easy to fall into that trap. Well, let's fast forward. It's been a month. It's been 2 months now. And what do we see? We can still go to that Charging Bull statue that had hundreds and hundreds of people that I could see out of my classroom and look down and just see all the pictures and all the smiling faces and all the vibrancy going on. And now, there's no one at that statue. Very few, if any. No one wants to touch it. And it really just points to two things. It points to how fickle our idols are, how easily these things we prop up can be torn down. I mean, look what's tearing down Lower Manhattan and the city itself, and the can-do attitude. Something that we can't even see, something that you can only see under a microscope. So it points to how weak the idols that we worship are, and it points to the permanence and the strength of who our God is, the God that we worship, and how He is our true hope. So I want to share this quote. This is by C.S. Lewis. I was doing some work, and I had the Screwtape Letters on audiobook. And as I was thinking about, look at this wealth, and now look at where New York City is today. And as this quote was said, it really hit me. So here it is. Prosperity knits a man to the world. Think about that. Prosperity knits a man to the world. He feels that he is finding his place in it, while really it is finding its place in him. His increasing reputation, his widening circle of acquaintances, his sense of importance, the growing pressure of absorbing and agreeable work build up in him a sense of being really at home in earth. So think about that. Prosperity knits a man to the world. That's where I was at. Well, this virus has clearly shown we do not belong to this world and the prosperity that comes with it. So this leads to the second point that I want to talk about. Our idols that we prop up are oftentimes and always, not often, always, are weak and fake. The second point is, well, what do we say to ourselves when we're thinking? So I want to address that part right now. We're now switching into a time period of social distancing, a time period where, especially if you're the TikTok generation, all the entertainments, all the things that your friends you could visit, the school that you went to, they're done. You are at home quite often, so a lot of times you go to your room, you're feeling bored, you're sitting around. What are you saying to yourself in this time period? I'm going to call it the time period of the mundane. What are you thinking? What thoughts are coming to your mind? And this can be a very dangerous time period, because for me, my idols are not destroyed. So the charging bull and the prosperity of man, that idol has clearly been destroyed. But for me, when an idol is destroyed, it's always replaced with something else. Okay? Many of our lives are being transformed because of the social distancing. So an idol is most likely going to come up with living in the mundane. So I want to read a quote by C.J. Mahaney in his book, Cross-Centered Life. Think about this in the time periods where you're just living in the mundane, living in the time period of self-reflection. On a daily basis, we're faced with two simple choices. We can either listen to ourselves and our constantly changing feelings about our circumstances, or we can talk to ourselves about the unchanging truth of who God is and what He's accomplished for us at the cross. So, are we going to fixate our minds on the feelings and our circumstances, or are we going to fixate our mind on God and His unchanging truth? Think about what you're saying to yourself. I challenge you in this time period of social distancing, staying in your house, to live boldly in the mundane. Love the people around you in a way that feels uncomfortable. Charge yourself to love. Charge yourself to think about being selfless, to utilize the fruits of the Spirit, to be bold about it. And you know, Christ obviously is going to forgive us when we fall short. But take this time period to think about the idols, the things that you're talking to yourself about, and fight for the unchanging truth of who God is. So here is a verse, Psalm 107:9. I want to end with this. For He satisfies the longing soul, and the hungry soul He fills with good things. Say that to yourself when things are quiet, when anxieties are coming in. And rest in the one who is unchanging.